And we are live. Hello, and thanks for tuning in. This is the SuperBoss Podcast, and I'm one of your hosts, Ian Eatwell, and I'm joined by Harrison Ngo.
What up?
And Luc Tran.
The Tran Man, you could say.
The Tran Man himself.
Wait, I don't get something like that? What the fuck?
Nah, you gotta earn that.
Ooh,
okay.
Cold.
Yeah.
What episode's this? All right, give me like...
Dang. Somebody's ambitious. We talk about what's going on in the nerd world, ranging from movies, comics, to video games. If you're a new listener, we'll start by talking about what we've been up to lately and any cool stuff we've heard. And then we'll jump into the main topic, which today we're going to talk about communities and fandoms. Specifically, well, I got a lot of questions about that.
I just have questions.
Yeah, you know what? I just have questions, and I want answers. So I'm going to ask you guys.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah. You guys are here to give me the answers to the universe. My first question, Harrison, how you doing today?
What a segue, dude. Let me tell you. That's a good-ass segue.
Thank you. I worked on that all day.
But fucking tired because my internet was out for half the day.
Oh, yay, internet problems.
That's just an excuse to not work.
Dang.
Dude, it was...
Does that actually work with your work? Like, hey, my internet's out.
No. I had so many phone calls. It's because it's been so busy for the last 2 weeks. And so there was already bad stuff happening yesterday. I was just swamped. And then it bled over to today. And I saw like I had 2 missed calls and like I was able to check emails, but I can't really access... I couldn't really access certain files to send over. So I was like, oh, fuck. So initially I was like on my hotspot, and then finally one of our friends, she lives in our complex, so I just went over to her place for like half the day just to find out, oh, they accidentally locked my account because they're like, oh, you moved, so for some reason it didn't change.
Oh my god.
What?
So, even though, and it's I knew it, I was like, oh, internet issues, no dud. It's gonna be like, oh, they say they do it, and then something's obviously not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So they said it was fine. So hopefully we're good.
Uh-huh.
Man, how they get you.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I know, right?
The same over here. It's like they say they'll do something and then it doesn't happen, and it's sad.
Man, but before midnight last night apparently, because I guess it went out sometime this morning, but I've been mostly playing. Not as much as Luke I've been playing Hades more, but I'll probably bleed into that with Luke too. But other than that, I've been also playing, trying to knock out Assassin's Creed, because I said I'd do that at the beginning of this year. I'm like, all right, I'm going to actually try to finish the game. So I haven't been sidetracking too much. I've just actually been trying to do the main story.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, wow, who would have fucking thought?
I just don't have the self-control to not do that.
No, and I literally had to like stop my, like they're... Like,
so you gotta like stop yourself from like doing side quests and stuff.
Like,
and
I had not even that. That's not the issue. The side quests aren't bad. I'll ignore the side quests. It's when I look at the map and there's question marks. I need to have that discovered. And once I discover it, there's tasks you have to do to quote unquote complete the area. Like for instance, kill this animal, or beat this. When you infiltrate this base, you have to kill like the fucking captains and like Luc Tran and all that. Like, it's the most tedious shit. You technically could just kill everyone out. You don't even have. So finally, I had to get the mindset out of like, if I pass by something,
to like suppress that perfectionist mindset.
Yeah, no, it's the completionist. I'm like, do not go into that camp as much as you want to. Like, there occasionally I'll be like, all right, I'm in the mood of like just doing random other stuff, but for right now I'm like, all right, no, story.
So do you still find the game enjoyable then? If you're having to like,
I think I find it more I think I find it more enjoyable because I'm like, I'm actually progressing. Who would have thought? And it is honestly the byproduct of a Ubisoft game where they've just now made everything open world. They just made everything like. I mean, it's nice that you have choice, but for someone that has a problem like me, like this is really bad. So, but. No, I'm having more. Honestly, I'm having more because I feel like I'm not impulsive to like. I don't feel forced to complete it only because out of impulse. Because honestly, you don't have to. So it's like just getting out of that mindset.
Yeah.
But that's just the completionist in me. And I'm like, no, I need to actually finish this game and then play something else. Because there's so many games that are coming out in November. So I'm going to get myself fucked. I already know that much. Because
you can't play them all.
I know. And of course, like for instance, Cyberpunk and Assassin's Creed, I got both. And what do you know? They're both fucking open world. Or
yeah.
I know Assassin's Creed is. No, Cyberpunk is too. Fuck it. And then of course some of the other guys and I are going to be playing Destiny. And that's somewhat pseudo open world. Somewhat.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
There's just more stuff, so I'm just like, oh fuck, I have so much shit.
Well, good luck with that. No, I totally get you. Didn't they say they're gonna make wasn't like the story in Cyberpunk gonna be shorter than The Witcher 3's?
Yeah, yes, I saw some articles about that.
Yeah. Which it was so funny to read online. Some people are like, no, that's like cutting down the content. And then someone else is like, wait, that's probably enough for me with someone that has a full-time job. Please.
Yeah.
Right.
It's kind of like how I feel with Spider-Man, where because it's not technically open world and like it's not as big, then it's easier to play, but also developers can't pad the game with just a lot of empty space.
Yeah. Agreed.
Right. Or like tedious tasks.
Yeah,
and
just
like
fetching stuff. And the quest is talk to this person and then talk to this person.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Luke? How you been? What you been up to?
A lot of Hades.
A lot of Hades.
Because 1.0 dropped for Hades, and that's where they have the official ending to the story, and then there's the epilogue. So I just finished the epilogue last night, and now there's still there's so many challenge things left to do in the game. So that's what I've been doing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Are you is there like a completion percentage that you would say you're at?
Not very.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it kind of depends. I don't know how far. So there's the post-game challenge mode, basically, where have you beaten the game yet, Harrison?
No, okay. I haven't.
Basically, when you finish your first run, next time you start any run, you basically have a list of all these options you can tweak to make the game harder, and that's kind of the progression because it's called heat levels, and each of the toggleable challenges adds a certain number to the heat level, and anytime you hit a new heat level is when you get Titan blood or diamonds or ambrosia, which are these items that you need for more permanent upgrades and how to unlock your weapon. I don't know how far that goes because I know people have gotten to heat level 41, which is a lot of increased difficulty. I think I'm only at heat level 8 on my highest weapon because it goes by weapon.
Gotcha. So is the story of the game, does that end when you just finish out a run without dying, you beat it? Oh, okay.
So no. Usually you can you can win. You can quote unquote win and you still get sent back to the beginning and there's narrative reasons why you're not done yet.
Oh, cool. Okay. Interesting.
Even me, who I've technically beaten the epilogue, there are still narrative reasons for me to keep going through the dungeon, basically.
Cool.
I mean, is that mostly also, for instance, you have to give gifts to people?
Yeah, there's also
more stuff.
Yeah, collecting the gifts to give, because there's, God, I don't know. There's almost 20 characters in total who you can interact with, who have thousands of lines.
Oh wow!
Oh man!
It was really interesting. They're Supergiant, who they're the developers for Hades. They're doing an AMA on the Nintendo Switch subreddit for whatever reason. I think because they released on Switch, and it's crazy. So the composer for the game, obviously he's an employee at Supergiant. Is it Supergiant or is it Supermassive? Supergiant, right? Am I crazy?
Supergiant.
Supergiant. So he did the compositions and music. He also voices the main character. And someone
cool.
was talking to him like, hey, how long did it take? Because you probably have like close to, if not over 1 million lines. He's like, it probably took me 3 years to record every single piece of line, like every line I had. Because like even in just the jump from like when they got to 1.0, they even like in the patch notes, like there's over 3,000 new lines. I'm just like, oh no. Like Jesus.
Because technically this game dropped in end of 2018. I remember at like the Games Awards.
Like it's just such a great game because like people have like 400 hours and they've not heard a single repeated line because there are just so many lines for other characters.
It's so
like there's so many just like contextual lines you would almost never hear. And there's so many reasons to keep coming back and playing. So I'm going to be playing that because I think I have almost 84 hours. I'll probably be playing at least till I have at least 200 hours because there's still so much stuff I need to do.
Dang.
Yeah. You have like 80 something hours. I only have like, I think, what, like 8. So it's like you have 10 times what
it's like
I
I'm
got.
not even close to being done yet.
Man.
Harrison asked you a question before we started. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, so with Hades, you have different weapons. And it's funny because I came back, because when I left, there was only the sword, the spear, the shield, and I think the bow. Mm-hmm. And that's when I like stopped playing for a bit because of school. And then when I came back, I found out they dropped what was it? The gauntlets or like it's like the melee.
Yeah, they have the fists.
The twin fists, yeah. And then the gun. And I was like very confused. I was like, wait, what? Because I just unlocked that too. And I didn't have much. I haven't had a chance to like try them all, like because I just want to try to get through it. So I'm like sticking with the shield. So far I can say my favorite weapon right now is the Shield of Ages. Wait, so with you, I don't because you played for so long. Do you have like a favorite, or do you only just kind of rotate out?
So I do, and I rotate every weapon. The way it works is, I think once you unlock all the weapons, or after you've done a few runs. One of the randomly one of your weapons, if you use it, you get increased darkness and gems for that run. Just it's like 20% extra.
I have seen that. Yeah.
So that's usually what I do because I need those resources. But personally, have you seen any of like? You can see the weapon aspects, right? Like you need to unlock them with Titan blood and all that.
Yes, I believe so.
The hidden aspect for the sword is probably my favorite. But like, what's really cool is because before I hate the bow, like I absolutely hated the bow. But one of the aspects you can just unlock as long as you have enough blood is the aspect of Hera for the bow, and that actually made me like, whoa, wait, I love the bow. It's like it's so much better to use. So there's not a weapon I dislike. Like maybe the shield might be my least favorite. Mainly because I really like the Captain America playstyle, which is basically like, so with your triangle, which is like your special on the shield, with any shield, you can throw it and it basically acts like Captain America shield where it bounces around and comes back to you. I've never gotten that build to work after, like I've gotten it to work twice, maybe. I'm just like, please. Okay. But there's one of the aspects is after you use your charged shield dash, you throw multiple shields. So that's like something I'm working towards to see like, okay, maybe if I just throw enough shields, I'll like the build. But even then, like I still really like the shield, but it's probably my least favorite because it, to me, is the least engaging.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Yeah,
but that's also part of my playstyles. I just like to throw shields. But like, it's so good because every weapon, even with like just the weapon aspects, make the weapon feel so much different.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to hear. If like it can actually like turn something completely around for you from like disliking it to
because like with the bow, you have your bog standard bow, which as you upgrade it, you get increased crit chance, and then you have the aspect of Chiron, which changes your special because your special you shoot out a volley of arrows. It changes it where you only shoot 3 arrows, but the arrows track the last enemy you've hit with your normal attack. So you become this like really weird, like you just turn corners and snipe enemies, and it just feels really different. You have the aspect of Hera, which is basically a shotgun, effectively. And then you have the secret one, which I've unlocked it. I haven't used it yet, but it also has a really cool mechanic where you basically just mark targets, and any marked targets just share damage between each other. So like all the weapons feel really nice, and it's really fun.
Dude, at some point I'm gonna drop the money to get this game.
It's such a great time sink. I talked to some of my other friends about it because some of them hadn't heard of it, and like some of them know about roguelikes, and like I can say with complete confidence this is the best roguelike probably you will ever play, and you will not be able to change my mind.
Have you played some of the other like popular ones, like Hollow Knight or
Hollow Knight?
Isn't that
that's
more
like Metroidvania?
I guess it's not really a roguelike, is it? No,
you're probably thinking of like, I mean, you have Binding of Isaac, Enter the Gungeon, Exit the Gungeon,
Enter the Gungeon,
There's like Rogue Legacy, FTL, Slay the Spire, if you want to consider that one kind of like it.
That one's kind of.
Yeah. This is still your favorite?
Yeah, bar none. So,
damn,
incredibly biased because I love Supergiant, but the aesthetic, I think, like hands down, already makes it the best because I'm a sucker for mythology, 100%. And especially because it's Greek. Because I really like Greek mythology, and they do such a cool twist. Like I feel like with some of modern mythology, you kind of have expectations of certain characters, like, oh, Dionysus is just like fat, sloppy drunk. And in Hades, he is the ultimate Chad.
He's the ultimate Chad.
He's like, what's up, man?
He's
Let's just party. We just want to party it up.
Dude, or like, he's my favorite.
Holy he's like some jack dude who's
super jacked, and he just hangs out.
He's like a beautiful man.
And same like Ares is this really dumb, like bloodthirsty guy. And in Hades, he's this really like quiet, suave, but you can tell he's just insane because he's just talks about like war is great, man. But he's so like charismatic about it.
That's wild.
Like just everything that they've done about the game Hades, I love because music, hands down the best. The writing, phenomenal, and even the gameplay. Like it feels like with Hades, you have so many options. But I don't get overwhelmed, and I kind of know intrinsically what things make sense. With other roguelikes, sometimes you just have a lot of options, but they don't really amount to anything much. It's just like, it's a static increase in damage, or it has this effect, and it doesn't feel as impactful. Whereas all the boons from all the gods and goddesses can like within just a run, can drastically change on a, I think, more impactful level than other roguelikes handle their power-ups.
Yeah. Dude, I don't think I haven't played them all, but I've never had an issue with the Supergiant game. Like, I thought they've all been great, the ones that I played.
Even, like,
so you should
Pyre,
get this one.
I think.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like I said, even Pyre. Like, I think Pyre is the one most people either don't play or don't care for, because it's a weird sports game. But I still think it's really cool and like pretty fun to play. But yeah, like Bastion, Transistor, Pyre, Hades are the 4 games, and even within all 4 games, I think Hades is like the perfect culmination of all their games they've done.
Didn't they do? Oh no, that was someone else. Never mind. But yeah, dude, their like art style and their aesthetic is so nice.
That's what got me hooked on the idea. Like when they first dropped that trailer, I'm like, "Ooh, I love this aesthetic." Like just like the way everything looks. I mean, I'm also a sucker for just
Greek mythology,
so that just made it a plus. So, and I agree with Luke. I like their twists on all the gods. Like And it's just fun to like see random, like there are times when I'm like playing through, I'm like, hey, I haven't seen this guy in a while, and then they drop, so I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
sweet.
they just pop up.
But
like,
I
what's
can
up, dude?
it just pops up. I can tell, but it's gonna be so hard to like get all the lines like we were talking about, because you don't always, there's not like an order most of the time, right? Because it's
usually. So
RNG.
the only way you can kind of manipulate which gods show up is so you can pick up their trinkets. Like after you give them a gift, you get a trinket, and it guarantees the next time you can get a chance for a god or goddess's boon, they will be an option. But that only happens once. And then the game, I think what it tries to do is the first like 5 or 6 you pick will be the ones that you see throughout a run. Like you're not going to get all 12 at once. It tries to shorten it, so that's why you can not see a god or a goddess for like 6 runs.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Changing it up.
Yeah, like it's always changing it up. And that's that side of the other bonuses. You get like the items that increase your current perks, the item that increases your weapons abilities, and just like health, money, and all that stuff.
Good podcast, guys. I'm gonna get off now. I'm gonna play some Hades.
I'm gonna play some Hades. Yeah.
No, it's and the last thing I want to talk about, because it's one of my favorite things they've done, is one of the options you can pick to make the game harder is it's called extreme measures, and it makes the bosses harder, but it doesn't do the stupid thing where like, oh, the boss has more health and damage. It like fundamentally changes how the boss fights, and it is amazing.
That's
that's
awesome.
dope.
I love that.
That's actually really good.
And it sucks because in the third area, I saw what it does to the third area's final boss for the first time, and that is hard. Like, it to me felt harder than the final boss. But in the new update, they gave the final boss a harder version, and I don't know what it does, but I've heard it's insane.
Oh no.
Shit.
But yeah, the game just feels so fresh after having played for 60 hours, which like, and at some games you're done after 60, but just now I'm like, okay, like now the game feels like a new game again.
Yeah, no, that's super cool that they can like. I guess it's technically been in development for a long time, but I've also been playing it for a while, so it's kind of like being able to keep your game still like fresh for old players is really, really successful. That's awesome. Yeah, go check out Hades.
Yeah, I will recommend that game to anybody.
Hell yeah, I'm gonna do it. You're gonna what?
Because I'm gonna recommend it to you, Ian, on what you're gonna be doing.
Well then, I'll take your recommendation and
throw it in the trash.
Yeah, where it belongs.
What's new?
So sad. This is so sad.
Well, yeah, what have you been up to, Ian?
Well,
we haven't talked to you yet.
Oh no, me? Little old me? Shoot, honey, what have I been doing? Oh, dude, you know what I've been doing? I've been playing too much MTG.
Oh, no.
Way too much. I am Platinum 3.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Playing a lot.
And so I started off, I was just kind of like, I was playing around with like a lot of different decks. I've become a blacksmith, okay? So I played around with like a bunch of, at the same time also a warrior. So I was playing around with a bunch of different decks. And they also like give you a bunch of decks, which is super useful after you play, you know, they'll like, oh, here's a new deck for today. And you get to like try out these different styles and stuff, so it's really friendly to like new beginners. But so then I decided, I'll make a really cool funny mill deck. And so I was playing that, and then, you know, slowly you kind of get a handle on like, oh, I need more of these type of cards. I need like more hard removal. Like I don't want this card on the board anymore, so I'm gonna get some hard removal. Or there's a lot of like Boros aggro around, so I need to like have more control cards. And yeah, so that has been happening, I've slowly been like changing this like one mill deck, and I just like started like hyper focusing on this deck, and I think I've forged like a really great deck. But I think of it like a blacksmith forging a sword, you know? I've created this beautiful like sharp edge that I've just been cutting people down left and right with. It's great.
So, question. One of our friends, he said that he played you, and this might have been early on, and he said, "Oh, I think I went too hard on him." Had you rematched with him yet?
Oh no, we haven't played again. But yeah, no, like Omar, I played with one of our friends, and he just had all of the cards.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
And I was playing with the like base decks that they give you to play against, or that they give you to like
start out for the season,
experience different things. Yeah. So going up against somebody who actually like had a
religiously
really good deck was fun. But I mean, there was skill involved too. Like I'm sure he knows way more about how to play the game than I do. But that was fun to see though. Like he pulled out some wild stuff. That I mean, I've been watching Magic for a little while, but I hadn't seen some of those things, so it was cool to see. It's he did this one thing that I think there's like this one land card where it's like you can search your deck for like these land cards and then put them one out on the field, one in your hand, stuff like that. It was this whole like deck built around that, and it was pretty wild.
There.
But it was cool. You've been playing a little bit of that, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been playing a little bit more. Like it's really like I'll go. That is another game I'm somewhat playing, but not enough because but I want to play more. I do.
Hell yeah.
So
yeah, no,
finally got back into it.
It's great. But yeah, so maybe I'll have to talk to our friend again and see if he wants to rematch with my super cool deck.
Stream it 1v1.
Nah, it's fun though. I really enjoy it. I've been thinking my next like thing that I want to do, because right now I've been playing this Dimir deck, which is black and blue. So it's basically like a control mill deck where I just make the person discard all their cards from their deck, and then they lose the game because they can't draw anymore.
You're dirty.
But I think I want to do some kind of like green deck. I want to make some big boys. Because so the new set just dropped recently too.
Yep.
I've watched a little bit of some Day 9 stuff, and there have been some silly stuff that's been happening. Because he had two other people that he kind of like talked about it with, and I think they're like pretty, I guess, prolific Magic players. I don't know if that's the right word, but sure, we'll go with that. There's this one green like 1/1 card that I forgot what the proc is, but after something activates, and every time it's the land, because everything's landfall now. So whenever you play a land, you get like a 1/1. I think that's it. There's a little bit more to it, but basically he got his deck that he made. He got it to where, like, on a single turn, he made like 30 something 1/1s, and she's just and the game's just over, because then you like all attack, and it's like, well, guess I lose. It was silly.
God damn.
Oh man, it was hilarious to watch that too. It's one of those. It's the greatest thing I love about Magic. Is like you can just have silly things happen.
Yeah, like
it's amazing.
If you don't go with meta, some things just get bananas.
Yeah, like actually, in my deck, my mill deck is kind of like that, because there's there's a one card. I forgot the name of it because I'm so distracted by the art, because the art's beautiful in that game too. Anyways, there's this one card that's like, every time you draw a card, the enemy or the opponent mills 2 cards. Dangerous, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's like the basis of the whole deck. And so I got like 3 of those, because they're enchantments, and you can have like up to 4 cards in your deck of the same type.
Right.
So I had 3 out on the field, right? So every time I drew 1 card, he's milling 6. And oh my god. And then so I had 3 of those. And then I had this one card that's like I think it's called the Clock Tower. But once you hit like a certain like step in your turn order, it adds a counter onto it. And once it reaches 12 counters, like a Clock Tower hour 12, once it reaches 12, you basically shuffle your whole all your discard and your current deck and your hand. You shuffle everything together, and then you redraw 7 cards. So it's kind of like a reset almost. And so since you draw 7 cards, and I had 3 of those things out, that's 14 for each. Yeah, 14 for each of those cards. So that's 3 times 14. And I don't want to do that math right now, but that's a lot of cards that he just had to discard immediately. It was hilarious. I laughed my whole way to sleep. It was great. Because it was the last game of my night. But yeah. No, Magic's fun. That's the bottom line. Magic's fun.
Magic is fun.
Oh, I got my first... I'll stop talking about it after this. I got my first draft win. I got 1 win. I went 1 and 3. It was great.
Fuck yeah.
That's so sad. That mode is so hard. I think it's just because I don't understand what is like.
That's the thing about draft is like if you don't pay attention to like what's in, you do what I do when I used to play draft, where I just draft rainbow decks because I think this card is good in a vacuum, but in terms of actual deck building, this does nothing for me.
yeah, right. Yeah, like there were a couple picks I did because I guess I'm obsessed with mill right now. There were like a couple mill cards that are like, I really should not have picked these. These are not good. And I just got completely obliterated by some like Boros decks. I'm curious if it's like the Hearthstone, because Hearthstone's version of it, I think, was hilariously called Arena.
Yep.
Like Magic the Gathering Arena. But yeah. So their version, back when I was playing a lot of Hearthstone, was it was kind of the way you played that was, I mean, obviously there were cards that were like good and bad, but you kind of picked for 2 drops. And I don't know if that's changed, but at the time that I was playing, it was like you want a metric shit ton of 2 cost cards, 2 mana cost cards. And then, and so the curve is like your 1 might be like a little bit up there, but then your 2, so it's this giant like jump step, and then it kind of like peters out the further the mana cost goes. So that you just kind of like 2 cost aggro your opponent out. And that's pretty much like how you did well in that game. So because what I got beat out by was a bunch of like Boros aggro decks. So I'm wondering if it's kind of the similar thing where you go like, but well, and maybe that'll like be good against like inexperienced players like me, because I have watched other people draft and they've done different things. So I think it's more of just about knowing like which cards in the set are good and how to build a deck around those cards. But I don't know. It's still fun, even though I'm losing like a bunch, but it's still great. It's my favorite mode.
You're having fun, and that's what matters.
All that matters.
Well, that's just the whole point of the game, isn't it? There.
Yeah, you fucking loser.
What happened to you?
I became a young prospector. Well, now, boys and girls, we're gonna start delving into the main topic. I'm not gonna do this anymore.
Okay, thank you.
No.
No to the main topic, or no to
anything.
Yes.
Do you want to hear the voice more?
Maybe if we just keep talking like that.
I think that's what does it. I think that is what makes the podcast the most listened to podcast on any platform.
The longest bit. Let's go.
The longest. That sounds like a book or something, like a comedian's book. The longest bit. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Pretty fun stuff. Speaking of being fans of things, super great and seamless transition.
We're full of those today.
Yeah, aren't we? Just?
I like segues.
Moving right along. I'm not even. I don't. Nope. Yeah. So what I wanted to pose to you guys is, are you guys into fandoms? Are you part of a fandom or a community about something? Would you consider yourself part of something? Because I've always been like, I guess I've always been a lurker. So I'll like watch, there'll be like streamers that I really like, but I don't really like, I'm not in on the community. I'm kind of just like chilling, lurking in the chat. Or if there's like things that I like, I'm not posting on discussion boards or anything like that. It's more just a self-contained thing. What do you guys do? How do you? Is there anything like you're a part of that you're like super active or involved in?
So my question is that what defines us being a part of a community? Is we have to actually do something?
Not necessarily, but I guess,
because that sounds like it's a stream. Like that's like streaming more, if anything. Like the way you make it sound like is like, oh yeah, I don't do that with streaming. Like for instance, if I watch a streamer, I'm like, yeah, that's about it. I don't do too much with that.
Well, sure, but like if somebody like really likes Pokemon, they might be like really involved in like discussion boards about like, oh, what's the best like PvP like build out there, stuff like that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you mean. I guess
Yeah.
For me, it's really just like I can think of like things that I follow, if anything. Like for instance, like I think the hardest I got into was like probably CW stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Was like actually following like the Reddit like I guess. No, yeah, it's like the CW mostly like with Arrow and like Flash back then.
Yeah,
I think that was like the biggest thing. Like I think, and that's where this is okay. This is I'll slide this later, but essentially, yeah, I just followed. This is when I started following more actors and like shows and like all that. So I guess to a point, mostly just that and maybe comics, but I think that's about it. I didn't really do too much thinking about it. Actually, do you guys buy a lot? Okay, I know I'm a sucker for it. Do you guys buy a lot of products from like people in general? Cough, cough.
You mean like things that they advertise?
Yeah. So
gotcha.
Yeah. So like for instance, like let's say
no.
Okay. Ian.
Go ahead.
So for instance, like I would follow remember Christian Guzman? I'd follow him like fucking a lot, and then
right.
I think he's the reason why I started using Ghost Ghost protein products. You never bought that?
I never bought Ghost. No, I bought some of his like apparel stuff.
Oh, yeah, I go hard on that too.
Yeah, but no, I never. I don't. Yeah, I don't buy a whole lot of things that are advertised like that. No.
Yeah, I don't do that either.
I don't think it's like a good or bad thing. I mean, if anything, it's a good thing because you're, supporting the person who's sponsored by them or whatever. So if you like them, yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, because I think for specifically with him, just because I have this rep at work too, because I would buy like Outfleet products, and I all our friends and everyone knows that like I have a shit ton of like his clothes, just because I like the fit. So yeah, I guess that's like. I guess like with community stuff, thinking about it more, I guess I mostly go for buying stuff, and that's my quote unquote way to support people I like. Because like even like back when Stephen Amell would do a lot more like charity stuff, he would sell shirts, and I would actually buy a good amount of those. Just because like most time it's like a go, like it's like fuck cancer and all that. So
right, yeah. So it's like supporting them, but you're also supporting a really good cause.
Yeah, most time it's like kind of like that.
You know what? I lied to you. I remember. There was back when I was super into working out and stuff. There was a company that I bought a lot of. Dalen Bailey and Rob Bailey. They're like, well, one of them's former bodybuilder. But they're like, they have their own supplement company and stuff like that. So I bought some products from them. So I guess yeah. I do get that, like, that kind of thing where it's like, oh yeah, I need like a protein powder. Well, I don't need it. Nobody needs protein powder, just FYI. But at the time, I was like, oh yeah, I want a protein powder. So they're selling it. I'll try theirs because why not? You know, I get that, like, mentality, I guess. If it even is a mentality, I don't know. But yeah. Luke, you've never, like, bought anything that somebody advertised or anything like that?
I'm trying to think.
Luke's smart with his money. He's...
No. in those regards.
No.
So this it's probably gonna sound elitist, and also I'm just kind of talking out of my ass. A lot of the thing, like, I don't buy from people a lot, because kind of default, I doubt the quality of their product, and I doubt that it's good, I guess, is another part. Like, I'm sure that, like, there are probably some very good, you talked about, like, protein supplements and stuff, Ian. Like, I'm sure there are good protein supplements out there, but it's a byproduct of, like, fitness, bodybuilding, and body nutrition is such a weird science.
Oh my gosh.
That so many people are just like, I wonder if I put this in that, maybe it'll make me strong.
I wonder if I put all these things I don't know in my body. Yeah, no, we could make a whole nother just topic about that specifically, but
yeah. There's stuff like that where in that realm, I'm just like, I don't believe you, so I don't buy it. Like, I'm a huge fan of certain authors, and I buy their books. So I mean, that's probably more of like a standard thing to do. Like, I'm a huge fan of Brandon Sanderson, so I buy almost all of his books. Yeah, usually they usually just align with my interests. Like, I mean, books are such a huge thing for me. Where when it's kind of different too, because especially with books, people will make like fan T-shirts and fan posters, so you're not technically supporting the author; you're supporting someone else who's just like taking their idea.
Right.
But sometimes, I guess, like, my big thing, I show my support not by buying things, but telling people how great something is. Like, I mean, I talked to Ian about Brandon Sanderson. I talked to literally everybody about Worm. And that's just like, Wild Bow, I think, is an amazing author. You should read Worm. And that's kind of how. And even, like, beyond that, because, like, I'm really big into tattoos. Like, it's not outside the realm of possibility I get tattoos that show off, like, Stormlight Archives or Worm or something, because it's a big thing for me, and that's just kind of how I express my admiration for someone by expressing it on my body, I guess.
Yeah. No, I get you. So yeah, it's more of like you might not, like, be in, like, some discussion group about, like, why this is the best Brandon Sanderson book or something like that. I'm being
like, I'm a super lurker. Like,
but
one of
like,
the big things
it
was like one of the big things about Wild Bow, because he's effectively self-published. And
Right.
he's doing Pale right now. I don't know the release schedule for that, but I think it's twice a week. And one of my other friends, who's also a huge Wild Bow fan, was talking to some of my other friends about like, yeah, like I really like participating in the community and I love being active. So like I'm sticking with Pale because it's active and twice a week I can sit down and like message in the forum and all that. And to me, I'm just like, I couldn't care less about that. I mean, just like I've just been a lurker my whole life, but it also, I'll see, because you can see the forum posts and all that on the chapters he releases, and it's always like at the top, just like here's a typo thread, and then it's just other, like you have to scroll down to actually get to discussion, and I just really can't be bothered. So
yeah, it's kind of like more about the work.
Yeah, it's
more what you're interested in than.
Because, like, I guess answering more of your question, I would say I'm a fan of a lot of things, but I don't necessarily engage with the fandom.
Okay. So you identify as a fan of things, but you're not like, oh, I'm a part of this community or something like that.
I really like going to conventions, and I'll cosplay at some of the conventions, but I kind of do that for me. I don't, because I guess with a lot of conventions, you know, you go with a group and you cosplay and do all the photos and all that. And like, I like to show up and cosplay because I think it's fun. And then I just like to wander around and buy merchandise. I don't like to like I think poses are fun, but it's not like I'm here just to take photos and hang out with people. I'm primarily here to waste my money.
Yeah, same. I was going to ask, like, with conventions, because I know you like to buy a lot of art, for instance. Like, every time we go, do you ever just go back just to, like, see if there's, like, the same artist or, like, group?
Oh, yeah.
And they just sell new stuff?
Like,
are you talking about, like a year later? Like
like a year later.
Like, with, I think it's Anime Fest. There is one particular artist my girlfriend and I both like, because we've gotten commissions for her. And it's kind of nice. It's just like a really nice personal thing. Like she remembers us, and so we can like talk about what we've been up to. And nice. Like we both just like her art, so that's a thing where commissions are like always fun to do. And I guess if you want to consider like I'm a fan of this artist, then definitely, especially with the Dallas A-Con, there have been some like relatively well-known artists who show up. And I'll buy their art because I like them for what they've done. I guess I'm a fan. I'm a fan, and I will patronize a lot of things, like patronizing that I'm a patron of them. I'll be a patron of a lot of things I patronize are not mainstream, and I think that's kind of the difference between both of you. Like Harrison specifically, like you buy Alpha Elite, right? It's been so long, I can't even remember what it reads. Yeah, like, but it's like a mainline fitness product, and specifically with clothes, I'm just like, yeah, as long as it's comfy. I don't stick with mainstream stuff a lot. Not to sound hipstery.
Yeah, no,
I wouldn't even say.
I would disagree that. I don't. Alpha Elite's very like niche. I would think
it's like if you're into like, athletics.
Yeah, like if you buy athletic products, like I want a Lyco weights only, and you know I gotta have
a what?
Is it a Lyco? There's a specific branding who do Olympic plates where they're seen as like the gold standard for weightlifting plates. It's just like I only buy those. Or I only buy X. I mean, it's the same with Supreme. It's like Supreme, Gucci, Yeezys, Timberlands.
That gets into like branding and stuff. Yeah.
Like it's like diverting. I absolutely hate branding because I feel like it always ruins clothes and stuff. And so I go out of my way to pick things that are not branded, just because I don't like the look of things when they're branded.
I used to. Then I realized everything unbranded is pretty bad quality most of the time.
Yeah.
Well, like I mean, you can have some branded things, but as long as they're like subtle.
Yeah. If they're subtle,
particularly mind. But yeah, like.
But I used to.
When you have like, Like when you wear
like
Nike or Adidas,
Supreme.
it's like Supreme is like just big Supreme or Thrasher.
Yeah.
Or
those
stuff like
those
that.
brands are like very loud.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a status symbol to like
Yeah,
be
like I think
wearing
the
those,
most
right?
recent like shirts I bought for myself personally were just black V-necks, and there's no logo or anything. It's just like, yeah, I like it. Like I like V-necks. Black is a good color on me, and like it doesn't scream. I'm not just like a walking advertisement.
And speaking of, I guess just to keep on topic somewhat, I just thought about like with fandoms, I realized there's always like the wars. Like for instance, the console wars, that's a thing. Like there's those fandoms. I think the reason why I don't bring it up all the time is because I'm usually a proponent of why not have both.
Yeah.
Porque no los dos. But I guess like for instance, like for us, I'd say like most of us we like Sony more, so that's technically we're usually more in that community. If anything, I pay attention to Xbox, but like I used to be. So I guess I would say I used to be a hardcore Xbox fanboy, and then now I guess I just lean more towards the middle. I guess if anything, maybe.
Yeah,
I might be speaking up for you guys. Like,
yeah. Hold the phone, sir. I'm not in the PS camp.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're the Nintendo.
Yes. No. I mean, probably, but like, yeah. I agree with what you were saying. At the end there, where it's like I'm kind of just in the middle.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah. Just like thinking about it back then, like how we used to, like when we talked about, like for instance, consoles. That's like a good fan base now, especially with the new consoles. It's definitely resurgent. Like, how much do I care about one or the other, right? And it's just funny to see people like throw out reasons and you can tell, and it's always like, oh, you're just a PS fanboy, PS stan, or like fucking Xbox. Like, I don't know. All that shit. It's just so...
There's like a good side and a bad side, and you're kind of getting into like the bad side of the fandom stuff that I don't like, and is kind of the reason why I'm a lurker, is because it's that like mob mentality that I want to stay very far away from.
I don't care to be associated with certain like negative parts of fandoms, and like on the other side, like people can be really quick to judge you for like liking something, so I'm just like, oh, I'm not like that kind of fan, but they already have like,
right.
We all kind of know, like with anime, you can have some like, oh yeah, like I watch anime, or like, yeah, anime is like the thing I watch, or like I live, breathe, sleep, and have sex with anime. It's like, oh
yeah,
you're that kind of fan.
Crazy otaku.
Yeah, the otaku, and like especially, I mean, we've talked about this on like multiple different topics, but like anime itself is kind of mainstream, so you have like a bunch of camps in anime, but like there's certain black spots with anime where you just don't really like touching, and it kind of lessens the perception of anime. Like that's in my opinion. So obviously you guys have different ideas, but
in terms of fandoms, do you guys think in terms of anime at least, do you think it's gotten better? No. It's gotten worse, right? I feel like it's gotten like absolutely worse.
Worse? What's gotten worse? Sorry,
I guess it feels like back then. Or okay, it's like a give or take. Back then there was a huge stigma, I feel like, but every time you talked about anime to someone, it wasn't as bad. Like it felt like it wasn't as it felt more like, oh, you can actually like discuss randoms like anime, but now it's like you could get shit on for like really fast.
Really. Wait, what do you mean get shit on?
Or okay, not totally. Okay, I say shit on like as like the most extreme way, but like,
well, I just mean I don't understand. Are you saying instance, you get shit on like they're making fun of you for watching anime?
Yeah, or like not anime, but like no, I'm just saying like so like you talk to someone about anime and they also like anime, so now it's more like, oh, fuck you, you watch that.
Yeah, then it's just like an inter-fandom.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but there's more fandom war now. Yeah,
gotcha. Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree, because like so many more, because like Luke said, it's mainstream now, so there are like so many more opinions involved and so many more people in it.
It's like, especially like for me, anime has gotten very mainstream, and that also opens the door for companies to like spend a lot of money and time. Like, this is what's popular, keep churning more of that, and it's, to me, I think the trend of anime has become very I guess low it's not low quality. It's like low because it's high quality, but like
the care
there's
involved
like
in it,
a
and
lot
the
of
like
it,
personalization.
This is extremely tempered by the fact that I'm a grumpy old man and I don't like a lot of the modern anime trends. But a lot of anime, I think, is made to just cater to very easily marketable things. And it also because it's
like isekai.
Yeah, like isekai, and also like
isekai. Jeez.
So because like okay, isekai's popular, I guess we don't have to necessarily make another isekai, but we should probably, touch on those facts or like do some parts of isekai in our anime. And I've made this stance known multiple times, but there's so many tropes in anime that are just bad. And like not even bad, but like you could argue like on a social scale they're unhealthy to like show off in a mainstream show. So it makes it harder to talk with other people like, oh yeah, I like anime, and like, oh, so like Goblin Slayer, like, no, not like Goblin Slayer. It opens up cans of worms that are annoying to deal with.
Yeah. But I guess it sucks is like it's like I remember back then I was like, oh man, it sucked not being able to watch anime like compared like, and I think that's like the give or take part. It's like back then it sucked to like try to even find anime. That's probably why it wasn't as popular.
Yeah, and now you have to.
Because
it's hard
so
to find
accessible,
good anime.
That's a really good point.
Well, I'm not even that. I'm just saying like just watching anime. Period. Like I remember back then you had to watch it on fucking YouTube. Like that's how like
11 at night.
Yeah, or you have to go onto some sketchy websites and find them. Yeah,
I mean, so that's why it's like
completely legal, totally legal. Don't worry about it.
But yeah, it's just I guess that's like the give or take. Like now, like I agree with Luke. Like there's just so much you have to like shovel through.
Yeah,
and then but then like anyway, yeah, like it's just more accessible.
No, but okay.
It's going to start going into a tangent. I'm trying to stay focused on like fandoms.
I mean,
but then
that's okay.
The waifu wars, that thing, that kind of.
Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, like it was harder to get, so of course there's going to be like not as many people involved, and it's gonna. Yeah. No, I completely agree. It's like a totally different environment when you make it more accessible. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Man, there's that. Ian, are you?
But
I know you mentioned you like lightly touched on it, but are there anything? Talking about it more. Can you think of anything that you actually follow more often? Like even like streamers, like I say, like streamers or YouTubers or anything like that. Like that's a fan base for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would consider myself like I am entertained. Like I enjoy being entertained by a lot of these people. Like the people I watch. So the people I watch is like Day9, Jesse Cox. There's a lot of. They're all kind of like. It's kind of weird. They're all kind of in the same network, I guess, because I'll like. He'll be able to like connect the dots and when I find out, it's very weird. And I'm not like digging, like I'm like, oh shoot, how, like clicking away on my keyboard, like how are these people connected? It was just that I found out there's a D&D show that Jesse runs that I watch. One of the players on there is actually Day9's significant other.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, what? When did that? How? What? I was just blown away. It was weird. But yeah, so that's besides the point. That's just a funny anecdote. But yeah, and like we were saying before with the whole Alpha Elite thing, like I can't speak. I was a fan of like watching Alpha Elite's content, Christian Guzon's content, and kind of to touch on the clothes thing. I bought his clothes because I think I saw yours and I liked how they fit, because normally I'd buy like shirts from Target and and I'm like a really tall and really thin dude, so nothing really fits right unless if I get something that's long enough, I'm in at 10. And if I get something that's like fitted enough, I'm showing midriff, right?
Right.
And
right.
I mean, if you want to show midriff, go and shine that
2020.
belly,
That's
man.
fine.
But
Let's go.
but I wasn't comfortable like that. So that when I saw his stuff, I was like, wow, this is actually like fitted. It's actually like well made. I'm gonna buy this. And so those stuff, it was. I don't think I did that. I think that was more for me. I don't think I did that as like I'm gonna support him.
Yeah, I just like the style, and I remember wearing it to work because we like during the summers we get to wear like super casual, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'd wear these shirts, and I get like questions. Everyone's like, "Holy shit, where'd you get those clothes?" I'm like, now I have to explain what the fuck I'm wearing.
No, I had a moment in at the God, I really can't speak today. No. It was I was taking my car to the shop, and the dude at the counter was like, "Hey, where'd you get that shirt, man?" And I was like, "Oh no, online store." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And he just kind of accepted it. So I was like, "Oh my god, I don't have to out myself." But yeah, so going back to I would say yeah, I'm a fan of them, but like again, I'm not.
I mean, I was only.
I'm not like talking to anyone else who's a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not like I'm not in the YouTube comments or I'm not in the Twitch chat.
Not even.
Which isn't a problem if you are.
No.
But it's just not.
It's just none of us do it.
The only time I interact in Twitch chat is if everybody is spamming something, and I just jump in on the spam because I think it's funny. That's about it.
Man, I just look at the spam. I was like, huh, same. But I don't even.
Like. They're like there's some streamers who are like my friends and I'll talk to them, but like one of the streamers I like to watch, he's funny enough, he's playing Hades, but he's got like 12, 13, 14,000 people, so nothing I say matters. So I just like when he dies I just post a laughing gif and like haha, he died.
Yeah, I get that. One of the things I was thinking about when I was like considering this topic, another person I watch is I don't know what they go by now. I think it's Dex Bonus. Dodger, Dex Bonus, press heart to continue. There's a lot of handles. But that person used to do like a YouTube show where it was like Welcome to the Fandom. That was the title. And she would talk about basically it was like an introduction to like the fandom. So and they did like a lot. I think I can't think of anything in particular. I mean there was one on anime, but I think she did like specific ones. Like I think there was a JoJo one. Yeah, it was there were a lot of them. But yeah, it was really interesting because just it was very like in doing it in that way, it's very like open and inviting.
Mm-hmm.
Which isn't always the case, and unfortunately in some fandoms like or communities. Because like in League, you have like it's super known for being like super
toxic,
like salty and toxic and unfriendly. But I still enjoy playing League, and so that's kind of like why that's a reason of why I wouldn't like talk with like be involved in a community is because it's like super toxic. But I still enjoy the game, but I don't enjoy the people that it attracts, I guess. Or maybe not the people. That seems very like
just like the negative people in the fandoms you just don't want to associate with.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes the vocal ones too.
Yeah, right. The whole like vocal minority. Yeah,
because like you brought up something I was thinking of, like especially with music, because like there's so many artists I love, and like I used to buy CDs, but I hate going to concerts mainly because like I hate being around people. Yeah, it's like I'm just such a huge fan, and like that's the thing where like I don't like interacting with other fans, even though like it's something we have in common we can talk about. I just like I don't want to deal with you, so I'm gonna like enjoy the artist in my own house where I'm safe.
Where I'm safe.
Smart.
So You think that's like just because we're all like to some degree more, I guess, introverted people, or maybe I don't even know if that's it, but like just the personality types that we have.
Yeah, none of us are like
is probably
super
a
outgoing.
reason. Yeah, I would say Harrison's probably the most out of all of us, and even then, I don't think he'd consider himself like a super outgoing extroverted person. But maybe you do.
I never do, but I've been told I am. So, so I don't.
Same, but that
So
person
I'm
was
just like,
horrifically wrong. So
man,
that's funny.
But it's so funny because like when you mention like music, and I'm like, man, like for instance, I like EDM a lot, and every time I tell people that, they're like, "Oh, do you always go to raves and stuff?" I'm like, hold up,
it's like, no,
wait,
no, I hate those.
wait. I've only been to a couple, and I'm like, I'm good.
I'm good now. Yeah,
Man.
I get that. I'm kind of like that too. Well, actually, no. I've been to 2 concerts. One I had an awful time at, and then the other one I had a really good time at. So,
Man.
I don't know. But I would say, like, I'm not, if I'm a fan of an artist, I'm not going to, like, I'll buy their music, but I'm not gonna go to a concert. Really.
Yeah, and like, I don't mean it to sound negative, but like being a fan of something for me like doesn't encapsulate a huge part of my personality. Whereas like,
I don't think it should.
yeah, like there are some people who like that's their thing, and that's like kind of what they're known for. Like, like I'm trying to think of something. I mean, like with sports. Like some people, a big part of who they are is like, I support this team, or like I'm always watching. I'm always watching just football.
I mean, I guess my kind of argument is like, if you just really like it, like why not?
I mean, like that's fine, but like when that's kind of your only defining trait, or it's like when that's like by a long shot your biggest defining trait, it just, to me, it's just like, yeah. Because I mean, like I like sports and I like watching a lot of sports, but it's not like this is the only thing I can talk about, or no matter what I talk about, it just comes back to this thing. Like, because like there's some people I know who are like that, like with sport, like football specifically, or like some people with MMA, or even like board games. Like when all they do is board games, just like I like board games, but not to that extent where it's like that's all I can talk about.
Yeah, I mean, because I know some people
I think that's fine. Right. It's mainly it's on a personal level. Like if you use your fandom as a crutch for your personality, then it comes off wrong.
Yeah, I can
guess,
see where you're coming from with
kind
that.
of.
It's I could see that. I think I have met people who like have problems socializing, and so that is they kind of use that in order to like get better at it. Basically, it's like, what do I know about? I know this thing. Okay, I can talk about this thing. But
yeah,
I think there's also like a thing where people also put you in a box like that too. And I don't know. I guess that's like another side to that isn't, or that is like if like back in high school, if it came out that you liked anime, I don't want to like use this because that was so long ago, but it's like, and now that didn't ever really happen either.
No,
but
still,
like,
okay, it still does for me, because it's funny because I'm like, I mentioned, I watch this anime. Yeah, it's funny because they're like, oh, so is that like a cartoon? I was like, oh no, you're lucky you're talking to me. Someone else would fucking blow up at you.
Just actually start reading.
Like, it was funny because like I know one of my coworkers, her boyfriend watches anime too, and he was trying to explain the difference, and I'm like, but it was funny because then it went to Avatar, and I'm like, oh. So he argued, oh no, okay. I'm just gonna let that sit there because I'm not even gonna try. Like he was just trying to explain the difference because for her, she's just like, oh, it's just a cartoon. I don't get it. And he just
what So my opinion about this is anime is cartoons. They're all the same. They're all the same. It's just the only difference is where is your target audience. That's the only difference.
Yep.
And of course, like artistic style and all that, whatever. But at their like core value, they're all animated.
At the core value, it's a 2D animation.
They are not a live action. They are a cartoon.
Yep, they are. Yeah. Yep. So that's just like another part of like the fandom on that. I think this is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, the stigma with that, it's still hard to explain.
Now you're the anime guy, and it's like, well,
yeah,
I don't just know about it. Like we can talk about other things here.
Yeah.
But
and it's fun. I was gonna say it's really funny because like when Luke was like saying, oh, when some people have like this thing is like, oh, their personality is kind of off that. I'm like, I can kind of see that with me because I do that with Batman, but I purposely do that as a brand because I like Batman. And
you do have a lot of like Batman and Deadpool are like the things you read.
Batman, Deadpool. I've had Batman, Deadpool. I have the comic book guy. I also have like the dude that just plays games. I think those are like and then it's always like the dude that likes all this stuff but also likes working out a lot. And I'm like, yeah. So I've just even though I feel like I haven't worked out in a long time. Fuck.
I miss the gym.
Damn COVID.
Yeah.
Put a dampener. But no, so like with that, I guess like, and I think it's just because with me, I have like a variety of stuff, but I get what you, not saying that, I get what you mean. Like some people just have that one thing, right? Is that what you were trying to say?
Yeah, basically.
Like they just have like that one thing, and that's every time you go to like dinner, for instance, it's like,
yeah.
So how about that?
And it just kind of revolves around that.
Yeah.
And like you hear the same conversation like multiple times.
Oh yeah, that I don't like that.
Man,
that like makes me uncomfortable.
You know what's uncomfortable?
Huh?
The deeper side of the fandoms, and I only say this because like I was talking to my friend when I was over while working at her place, and she's like, "So I just started learning because she's on TikTok a lot. And she's like, so there's some really weird ass people about certain things." I'm like, "Well, what do you mean?" So there's these ships I've been learning. I was like, wait. Oh, you mean? She's like, yeah, they're pairing a lot of these people. And I'm like, why? I'm like, oh, girl.
Oh, no.
This is like that weird, like, and I'm like, yeah, ship fandoms are just a thing. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
I just look at it at surface level. I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. Or, nah.
I can like skate the surface of that because it like I can see how it's like entertaining, but I can't get.
But then there's some really weird, like there's some
like hardcore... I don't care at all, and there are people who like like you're about to say that they like care.
They
a
care.
Lot. They're like, yes, Kaiba can only be like super in love with Yugi, and anything else you say is wrong and you're stupid. And you're like, whoa, okay.
Man. That's when it gets
close out this
again.
Tab.
It's always like a different toxic level. It's hilarious. I remember when I watched CW like hardcore, like with Arrow.
You had like so many ship camps in there.
The main one was fucking annoying. Was when everyone's like, Felicity and all. So Felicity and Oliver every season after I think season 4 or some shit. That's when it just took off, and every fucking person was like, every girl was like, no. Elicity's a thing. They are paired together, and it got so bad. I remember reading it was like those fans would like fucking give death threats to Stephen Amell's wife, and I'm like, that's when it gets.
It's just like
up.
The crazy.
That's when it's fucked up.
I mean, it's same like I guess we were talking about just crazy ones. Like they're gonna come out of the woodwork and like put a whack on me, but like K-pop fans are horrible.
Oh,
legitimately horrible. And it like.
Well,
I was gonna say
let's not put a generalization on that, but there are crazy.
Yeah,
there are crazy ones. I was gonna
you need to infer from what I'm saying, people out there who are listening. Infer from when I'm talking about. Let's talk about crazy fans. The crazy K-pop fans are particularly crazy. I will say that.
Yep. Yeah.
There's a level. To this, we're not talking about you,
or are we? You'll never know.
We're not.
You'll never know.
No, I'm trying to protect you here. I'm trying to.
They're not gonna do anything. They'll send me death threats, and I'll be like, okay, I want to die anyway.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm like thinking of like who would be listening. I'm like, all right, you're one. I know you're one.
Yeah.
The entire
No one's
all
listening to this. Are you crazy?
all of everyone in college I talked to was I was the outlier, and I was like the one Asian dude that was like not into K-pop, and it was weird, and it still is, because I still listen to it.
Yeah,
Ian, you listened to it more than I did, and I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. I mean,
not weird. It was just fun.
Like...
It was just funny when you're like actually like when we go to eat at what was it? We ate the chicken place. We would sit there, and I remember like our group, like all of them were like singing along to a song, and then you would too, and I'm like, huh. And me in the corner, like, interesting.
You're like, huh?
Look
the
at
white
me.
guys listening, or the white guys in on this fault. I'm the outlier. This is weird. No, yeah,
there's a level. No, but Luke's right. There's a level where I'm like, you guys are, and I think that goes for a lot. Not just like there's K-pop, but like following like other fucking artists is like insane too. But
yeah. There's there's like I don't know if I'm reading too much into things or like having my own distorted perception, but I feel like there are a lot of people out there who are like way too. They have too much invested in celebrities.
Yep. I know exactly what you're talking
and
about.
they celebritize
100%.
people like way too much.
And like when you say celebrities, you mean like not like movies, but also
like literally any any personality.
YouTube, like any person. Yeah, I think that's
You're anybody who like. Yeah, YouTube people, like sports people.
Like even like streamers. It was a big issue when maybe like a few months ago, a bunch of like really high level Smash players got outed for stuff. And people were defending them and it's like, no, that's not something you can defend. They're like, no. And just like they're so good and they wouldn't do this. Like, yeah, they have proof they did this. And like it's silly.
Man.
It's
right.
silly.
It's like you don't know that person. You get to see a
curated version of themselves.
Yeah.
Most time it's curated. It's just like for the VOD.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's like a persona that they are able to show you, and they can hide the parts of them that might not be so good.
Especially with streamers, where like a lot of them like. You could look at it a different way, but for a lot of them, like you're basically paying to be friends with them, and like some weird way, and like that kind of like that's kind of true for a lot of people. Where like they're a lot more reserved or quiet or even like rude when they're not streaming, and like people like can't wrap their heads around.
It's always and it's always fun to see like when people actually meet like any personality. And they just come out and say like, wow, this guy's fucking it's the same for a lot of things too. It's like, wow, this guy was a fucking asshole. But then like, and sometimes you're like, oh, he's right, they are. But then when you actually read into the situation, you're like, oh no, this is because you had a weird interaction.
Yeah.
There's like those like, too. It's just
it's like because you don't know, maybe because especially if you take like a high profile celebrity, like they can't walk down the street to get like a snack. You know, like so maybe if they're trying to have like a low key, they're just like going somewhere. They just want to, and then somebody like is expecting them to perform for them. It's like, oh, all right, or or like I've thought about this a lot, and I think part of it is because I watched Game Grumps a lot, but the whole like Christian Bale thing.
Oh,
a long time ago. Do you guys remember that? Where he like yelled at his lighting guy?
Mm-hmm.
Or a lighting guy?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I go back and forth about like, I still think, he was kind of an asshole, but also, and this is also like one of those times where it's like, well, you don't know the situation, so you kind of can't. But like, it's like, you don't talk to someone like that, but also, if you're performing your job bad, shouldn't you know, like, not to, I don't know. It like, I could see it being spun both ways. And so I guess that's when you gotta, like, remember, hey, you have no idea what the heck's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you like, why do you even care about this? You know?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird because like in a, like, let's say when I was delivering pizza, you know, if I have like a customer who's being an asshole, you know, you kind of just shrug it off. Like everybody who's been in the service industry knows, like everyone's had to deal with an asshole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then when like, I guess when a celebrity is an asshole, it's like career ending. It's like, what?
And then the argument is, oh, it's because they put themselves out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get that, but it's like, why are you putting this person on a pedestal? Like they're just an actor, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I mean like
They're
an
just a
actor.
person.
They're getting paid. Yeah, they're just a person being paid to do a job.
Yeah, and I've learned in
art, and
art. Yeah,
it's
Yeah, like them
and
being good at anything should shield them from scrutiny. Because you tend to see that a lot with like some of the megastars, where some of the more rabid fan base just convinced like they can do no wrong.
Yeah. Oh my god, I saw something recently that I was just like, who cares? And I mean, I'm sure people care. I'm sure, but it was on YouTube. It was an advertisement for Paris Hilton, and it was like the Paris Hilton that you never got to see, and I was just like, who the fuck cares?
Everyone right now, because it's COVID, you gotta watch something, right?
I guess, man. But and it's the same thing with like Justin Bieber a long time ago had like it's whenever the celebrities put out these like, and I guess that's interesting. And I guess if you're a fan of that person, but then again, it's like, why are you invested that much in that you want to pay to see a movie that is like just behind the scenes? I don't know. It's weird to me. It's weird.
I mean, and then here's the thing. Like, I know this is like going beyond that. I think it's just a matter of like behind the scenes stuff. It's just if you like a movie, for instance, and you like seeing how it's made, that's like one.
I totally understand that.
That's just one look at it, and that's how I process it in my head to make it make sense. Because otherwise, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I don't. But then I can see. But then it flips when I'm like, oh, for voice acting, for instance, I love seeing like when a voice actor like when they do like a game, and I love seeing like, oh, here's how they are in the booth, like how Mark Hamill would do Joker. I'm like, oh wow, he's actually moving, he's actually doing all this. It was just fun to see. So and this is just kind of ties in with how I follow more voice acting now. I actually not even just now, like I say, like in the last few years, like since college, and I've learned like because like every time we go to conventions, for instance, like Luke is going to see the art, and I'm here like, oh, I have to go to this panel because I want to see this actor talk. I got to go to this panel and see this actor talk. And then my girlfriend here is like, oh, I just want to cosplay. I'm like, but I want to hear these guys like, it's just this is my level of fandom where I'm like, oh, I need to just get to like talk, like even like going up to get something signed, like I get to talk to like fucking Nolan North for like 2 seconds, and it's just really cool because and at that moment I'm like, yeah, it could be like a facade that like he's down to earth, but most of the time you can kind of tell. It's usually in that moment you can kind of tell they've been doing it they've been signing stuff all day. You can kind of tell they're like how they're gonna be. And then even man, what was it?
So here's my question: is why is that exciting for you? And I'm not like judging you or anything. I'm like honestly curious. Why is that exciting to get to like talk to Nolan North for 2 seconds?
Because it's mostly just like I like, and it kind of goes with art. Is like I like his work when he like does certain voices and it kind of ties in with he did like the Deadpool game, or he did like the Nathan Drake series. I love playing that stuff. It's just, and then like I guess it's like the entry was the games, and then I started learning. Oh, he started voicing for certain shows that I like. For certain animated shows, I'm like, oh, this is cool. This guy's has like a wide range of like even Assassin's Creed, he did that too. So I'm like, oh shit. So I guess it's just like a lot of things extends from what I like. So I get excited.
So it's like sorry, go ahead.
It's just an extension of what I like. And then for instance, like even let's say Batman, like the animated series. Kevin Conroy to me is like the best fucking voice for Batman. And even like I got to talk, like I went to his panel, and I think just hearing more about the person, you start liking them more. Because this is when people are like, oh, he's more than Batman. He's like actually is a person, which is sometimes I'm like, I wish fandoms would get that. But I think that's what
yeah.
makes it so fun to like hear their experience. Like when they have really cool experiences, that's also fun too. Or like how he got the role type of deal.
I get that. Yeah. Like getting to see the like behind the scenes stuff and how things work. Yeah, I understand
So
because like for voice acting, let's say, and you get to see them in the booth, not everybody gets to see that every day. So like being able to see that is super interesting. I get that. Yeah.
But then me explaining that to someone else, they're like, "Oh, that's cool, I guess."
Yeah, right. And then someone who's not interested at all.
Yeah, which I get that vibe sometimes. I'm like, yeah, but at the end of the day, they like know I just like, for instance, Batman. So I'm like, I'm not gonna shut up about it.
Yeah, I will say I don't think. I guess yeah, but you're not someone who I would say like, oh, he's just the Batman guy. But then again, I know you super well, so it's
that's the other thing. You know me.
Than someone at work.
I've just learned that like I have. And I always joke around with like my girlfriend, I'm like, no, I built my brand up because you know why? No, and I joke around with it because I'm like, you know why though? She's like, why? Because if I get a random gift, they'll just give me something related to that, and I won't absolutely hate it. I probably won't like it as much, but I'm like, all right, there's effort.
It is kind of smart, yeah.
It is like a safety
kind of like
net.
Ingenious. You're making sure people know what you like, so that when they get you something, you will at least
because like my old
you'll
boss,
at least have some kind of like connection to it.
Yeah, because like back then, my old boss, she like when I first joined her like team, she realized I like comic stuff, and she made because she's like, oh, Harrison likes Marvel. She made cupcakes and just put like pictures of like random superheroes on each one, and I'm like, see, that's
okay.
Cool. See, that's
but everybody likes cupcakes, Harrison.
No,
everyone likes
incorrect,
cupcakes.
friend.
Incorrect. I usually don't like cupcakes, but those
then
were
you're
nice.
Wrong. You're wrong.
No, I'll fight you on this.
Nah, I get you. You know what's weird? Actually, this is way off tangent. I don't like cake, but I actually kind of dig cupcakes.
Is it because it's like the size?
Maybe.
Because you don't have to eat
might
the whole
be the
fucking
size.
piece.
It also might be like the amount of frosting that's on them. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is. I'll get back to you on this. But it's weird because they're the same thing, right?
Essentially.
Like yeah, essentially they're the same.
Essentially.
I guess.
Just give me that cookie cake.
Ooh.
Oh,
God, I'm hungry.
I'm me too.
Let's wrap up so we can eat.
I was gonna say once we start
Fandoms.
talking about food, it sounds like it's about time to wrap up. Well, this is super interesting because I don't know. I find it interesting learning about why people.
You see, I wish we had someone who was like a super fan of something to get their context, because none of us are super fans.
Isn't that just subjective on like how much of a super fan you are?
I mean, like I think there's a tier of like, okay, this person's like a fan.
Unhealthy.
Not even like not even unhealthy,
but
but like someone who's like a very active fan of something. I think would be interesting context, because like we're all fans,
like,
but like it'd be the difference of like if you met someone, Harrison, who also collects pops, but literally every single pop is just a Batman pop. And they're not even different. They're just the same Batman pop. It's like, I really like this model in particular. You're like, okay.
Or like to get to talk to somebody who like pays top dollar for like all the days of Comic-Con and is like there on the front seat for like every panel.
See, that's the
like get to talk to someone like that.
That's the fucking dream.
All right, well, Harrison, let's talk.
Tell me why.
Oh man,
unpeel the veil.
This is like I could sit here and explain why I'd like that, but I'm also hungry. So maybe next time.
We're also.
But see, like, you could, Harrison. You just don't. There's that level of like, you're not a super fan, Harrison.
Okay, it's the money, all right.
See, like, if money wasn't an issue, would you be doing that?
Oh, probably. I'd go to more conventions.
But see, would you take the time to like, okay, I'm going to New York and California Comic-Con, like every single year?
100%. Probably.
Okay.
Because those are the big ones that have good announcements. I think okay.
Ooh,
really quick.
That's interesting what you just said.
I think it's for the experience. I think for me, it's mainly the experience. Like I just said, there's announcements at those big ones, and it's like, oh, I get to hear the new shit from Marvel. I get to hear the new like comic line, or hear like what things that are in store for like DC, for instance, or like games, or I think for me, it's just like getting to it. If I could experience being there, that'd be cool. I don't know. I actually don't know if I do that every year, but I think right now I would like to go, and I guess we'll see. COVID.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Okay, so it's about the novelty of like having been there during this thing, or
it's like the same with
being like on the front lines of like
it's
the
like
new
with
shit.
a Coachella thing. Like it's the thing.
Yeah, it's like like Coachella's like the thing for like a lot of music.
And that like line of thought, like the thing is the popular thing, which means it's wanting to be a part of that like co-current community.
Yeah. So
I would assume.
You know what? Yeah. This entire podcast has made me realize it's probably for the experience for me.
We've changed.
I was worried. I'm like, man, I don't fucking know if I follow shit. And then now by the end I'm like, oh, I follow a lot of stuff. Oh shit.
Yeah.
A lot more than I thought.
I guess the bottom line is like what you like, as long as it's not hurting anyone.
Be healthy.
Don't be a psycho. Yeah.
Yeah.
Be healthy. If you're writing letters to somebody about death threats, you're probably gone too far.
You need to take a look in the mirror.
You need to just chill. Just
on the bright side, there's a lot of good things to like.
Yeah.
So
you can always find
those
something
things.
to like.
I was gonna say, if you're having trouble finding someone to talk to about it, Discord. Just look for Discord.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. That's like, everybody's doing like Discords now.
Yeah.
Speaking of, we talked about Brandon Sanderson. I just want to mention to Luke, and we'll talk about this afterwards. I finished the first Mistborn book.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. You can tweet us any topic or suggestions or questions you have at SuperBoss Pod. Or you can email us at superbossfeedback@gmail.com. You can follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and at SuperBoss as well. Let us know how we're doing. Thanks for tuning in. If you're listening on YouTube, drop in our comments. What would be a thing? How about fandoms? Yeah. What fandoms are you part of? Or do you associate yourself with? Let us know.
Because
thanks for listening, everybody.
Because no, you're not. All right, thanks, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.